watch back here in the United States because of the fact there wasn't really anything out there doing that. Obviously, there was those USO shows way back in the day that people would watch, and they don't really exist anymore. So it was kind of cool to be able to even just see, Iraq outside of a news program. But since then, WWE has kind of watered that down a little bit. The Tribute to the Troops shows that happen around Christmas time, they did move them to some bases, and then they moved into arenas outside of bases. The upcoming Tribute to the Troops show, I've been saying that like 10 times in a row now, so it's hard to get it out fully every time, but the 2017 Tribute to the Troops special is set to be taped in San Diego at the Valley View Center that is home to, right now, I believe, no teams in professional sports, but it will be home to SmackDown in December, and at that SmackDown taping, they're going to tape Tribute to the Troops. Now, I understand there's some naval ships in the San Diego area, but other than that, I just feel since the Tribute to the Troops started, it has gone watered down. Is it time to retire it, or is it just time to tell WWE, let's do something with this? Why can't we still be going overseas? Or more importantly, why can't we hold these on bases? It used to be only members of the military were in attendance to these things. You'd watch it and everybody be in camo, everybody be in fatigues. It would be only members of the military. Now it's members and their family are allowed free tickets to a show that's open to the public. It's essentially just another show. Yeah, it doesn't stick out.
I don't like it that way. I really don't like it that way because it should be, the easiest way. Everybody's in their combat gear, so to speak. They're like they used to do it. Not like, no offense to the rest, no offense to the three of us on the show, but we're not military personnel. I think a tribute to the troops should be a show just for, to say thank you for what, at least for me, I'm a very patriotic person.
Especially seeing how they've already done in the past. We've already seen them do it in a good way, in a way that they put it eventually on DVD. And I think I even went back in the day, back when I bought DVDs, owned one of. It was like it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was a unique event that was worth something. It was like
to me.
And here's my
go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, my thing here is simple. Like, we cut back with the fireworks. You tell us, hey, we don't really need it. The entrance music is enough. This is enough. We're saving money. Okay. WWE fans are like, whatever. You're taking away from the experience, but fine. You do this. Tribute to the Troops, it seems to me to be a cost-cutting move. It seems to be, hey, we got to ship over however many people overseas, so all those tickets, the hotels, and all the crap that goes into that, and they're trying to save on the bottom dollar. That's what it appears to me. They feel, apparently, that they can give a similar product to, like, similar people in the United States on a San Diego base or wherever the hell it's going to be.
That's the thing. If it was on a base, I would be proud. If it was actually, let's say, for example, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, there's a big Fort Bragg base. If they had the show there before at the arena, and understand that's a pretty small town. So being at the arena, that's close to being on a base, but more importantly, these bases have huge armories, and you don't have to have 9,000 people go to them. You can just have 2,000 troops. Now they're trying to be like, hey, let's have it near a base so that we can have 10,000 regular people pay money. Yeah. And then, if the military, because it's close by, wants to show up too, hey, why not?
Here's my thing.
That's my thing I don't understand. No, go ahead, Brent.
Being a part of a military family, my dad's served our country for many years. I'm very patriotic about that, and I love the fact that the WWE has these tribute to the troops. But my problem is, and you touched on it, guys like us shouldn't be going to the show if it's in a military installation. Like, if there's troops still serving our protecting our freedoms across the globe, if there's a place we can have it there. Have it with just the men and women of our military, and the only people that should be non-military are the performers and the crew. That is it. That's the way it should be. That's the way I'm just going to leave it, just like that.
And the thing is, it used to be WWE has so many hours of programming. So to give us just more programming essentially that doesn't stand out or is unique like before, Tribute to the Troops stood out. It wasn't, you're like, wow, I want to see what it looks like, because it's not in an arena. It's in Iraq at a battlefield. It's kind of everything's set up, and it's a very unique venue. It's not the typical 8,000 seat venue. It's, the different seating arrangements. So it was something worth watching. And again, it was on Christmas night. So it was on, it was something to watch on Christmas night. Obviously, we talked about what's going to be this year, about making money, which seems to be the opposite of Tribute to the Troops. But, it was a unique something to tune into, unique. Now it's not. Now it feels like I'm not going to tune in because it's just Superstars or Main Event or one of these hour-long. I think it's only an hour long now. But more importantly, it's not unique. It's just a house show, a house show on TV. And we already have enough of those every single week. So I don't need to see a house show on TV that it's a tribute to the troops. It just looks like a house show to me because you're taping it at a SmackDown. You're taping it at just a traditional venue. and the crowd doesn't stick out any different. You know, so essentially, I'm watching a SmackDown that doesn't have any current storylines going on, and I already watched 6 hours of WWE programming this week. I don't need to watch a house show as well.
Yeah, I
so
agree
it doesn't
with that.
stick out. And from what I've read and what I've been told is there's lots of overseas tours, and the wrestlers obviously don't want to go a lot of places. It's tough, but this was the one where they actually had, you know, a waiting list for superstars. Everybody wanted to go on this thing because it mattered to them, because it was important to them. So again, it's obviously just a cost-cutting measure, and you know, I feel like
is sort of ridiculous.
if you're going to do it right, and I feel that they're not doing it right.
Don't half-ass it. Just go
Yes,
full
that's
bore.
my thing. I agree.
Don't half-ass it.
Cut it if you're not going to do it right.
Don't screw with it like that.
All right, well, we're going to wrap up this week's edition of the Heel the Face podcast when we return with our tweets of the week. As again, this is the Heel the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, and on iTunes.
The New York Jets are rising and are ready to compete in the AFC. Boyd Green and Ty Butler will give you everything you need to know about the Jets every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. From reviewing the previous game and looking ahead to the next matchup, to all of the news and 4 downs, the Jet Zone has everything. Follow at BoydGreen25 and at Ty D. Butler on Twitter. Proud member of Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
This program is simulcast on WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Go to ratpacksports.com for more information.
Do you want to stay up to date on the latest sports news? Come check out After the Whistle from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday night. We talk about the NHL, we talk about the NFL, we talk about the MLB. You name it, we got it. Tune in on Sports War Radio.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Let's get back to the action. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio.
Back here on the Heel to the Face podcast, it is time to wrap up this week's edition of the show with our tweets of the week. We're going to start with Paul. Paul, what is your tweet this week?
Yeah, it's from @heel_tem. Great handle there.
I've actually picked them before. I recognize the Twitter handle. So
yeah, so it's fantastic. So they tweeted out, "This is great," and essentially it's a 3-column picture. It starts off with Seth Rollins, and then one of those SpongeBob's much later, and then it has Elias Sampson there. And it really, if you look at the two guys, I mean, Elias Sampson kind of just looks like a beefier Seth Rollins, which is the joke on this tweet. So yeah, heel_TEM. Fantastic stuff from them. Hopefully they'll follow the Heel to the Face podcast as everyone else should.
All right, Brandon, what do you got for your tweet this week?
Mine is actually a little conversation, a little back and forth between John Cena and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns started the tweet by saying, It was at John Cena. "You must be asking people on Twitter for insults. Aren't you a bit old to smack talk online? See me at Raw, Cena." And then Cena replies back, "Sounds like a date. See you there." see you there, sir. It's been working out quite well for you lately. I thought that whole little back and forth thing. I love the fact that the WWE superstars, they know how to take their gimmick and everything and put it on Twitter, and when they're not actually on WWE programming, and do it this way. I think it's cool to kind of keep building for this upcoming match at No Mercy.
All right, so my tweet of the week is essentially 3 tweets because Hulk Hogan had to do that. He couldn't all get, you have so many characters, so Hulk Hogan had to do what he had to do. But last night, he was watching SmackDown on Tuesday, and here's what he said. He said, "No crybabies in wrestling. Hurt leg, broken finger, neck hurts, broken rib. Vince OG. Doesn't have to, will do anything. Follow that kid. Balls." Then he said, "Vince just taught this new crew how to get somebody over. Now Shane needs to put the icing on the cake, and then KO will be money forever. Sell, brother, sell."
Well said by the Hulks.
Nice job, Heel.
Yeah, I can't even say anything else. That was well said.
Yeah, so that's Hulk Hogan this week. Sending out some love. Hopefully it's not too much longer before we see him back in a WWE ring. Obviously, if he's talking positive about Vince McMahon like that, they must be on some okay terms again, which is a good sign. We've obviously seen Hulk Hogan be reintroduced a little bit in the backgrounds of some vignettes and some videos. A little better than he was about a year ago, where we had to pretend that he never existed in WWE, and that Andre the Giant and Iron Sheik ran the 80s, and then Ultimate Warrior and Shawn Michaels ran the 90s, and Hulk Hogan, we don't know who that is. But
Well, it was a nice job by him to get it under 420 characters. Thank you, Hulk Hogan, for that.
Well done.
That's good counting. It did take him 3 tweets to get all that out there. But either way, it was worth 3 tweets. So my tweet of the week is essentially a collage of 3 tweets. And more importantly, if you want a collage, I think you should collage our show week by week. Listen and just binge listen to all our shows, and especially next week, because we're going to be breaking down everything that is No Mercy before the big John Cena Roman Reigns match, Braun Strowman against Brock Lesnar. You're going to want to listen here. So you're going to want to listen to this show. You're going to want to listen to our show next week. And either way, just keep listening to our show every single week. As once again, this is Brandon, the Icebreaker Clements, Paul Boyd Green Esden, and myself, Jarod Wick, saying thank you for listening, as you have been listening to the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, and on iTunes. We'll see you next week.